Hello.
And welcome to
Champagne Room Secrets, the show where two hilarious sex workers give you a peek behind the curtain of the adult industry through personal anecdotes, content analysis, and sometimes interviews.
Happy season 3.
Happy season 3. I am also Barbie.
Oh my goodness. And in addition to that, I am Kitty.
In addition, as well as we have Kitty as well as me.
Fantastic. We just wanted to kick off this season saying, hey, how you doing?
Missed ya.
You good? 'Cause
I'm very good.
you doing great?
I don't think anything's happened of note recently.
No, not in our personal lives, nor
Nothing of note.
in the whole...
Not of note.
Well, since there's nothing to talk about.
Goodbye. No. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but
Some things have happened.
you might be wondering how we got here. Actually, I do have an apology to make.
Oh,
Because-
do you have a fact check, a redaction?
I do have to redact my original statement, which was that someone was going to win the U.S. election that did not win
For president.
for the seat of presidency. He's going to lose. It's fine. He's losing. I'm talking in absolutes because it's called manifestation. When he loses, I will be happy.
So hey guys, we're back in it. Round 2.
Yeah.
Worse than ever.
And yeah, I guess I don't know. So we're just doing this little episode just to check in and kind of talk about our feelings a little bit, but how we wanna really just dive into the next 4 years.
Yeah, because we've done this before. I mean,
We've done
you
it.
and I literally have done this before.
Yeah.
And round 2, we're smarter, stronger, wiser, hotter, richer,
Funnier.
funnier. Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking as everything was happening.
Yeah.
You were out of town, I was home, and I think we both kind of went through different waves of emotion just because of time zone.
Just for some context that might come up later, I was on a flight to Thailand as the election was being called, because it was honestly just a birthday trip, which I didn't think was we had been planning this for a while, and it's well, we'll be flying an election night, but it's come on, how serious can it be? How serious can it get? So yeah, I me and Billy Bob were sitting in the airport watching the TV, at the airport bar, and just drinking.
Yeah.
And guess what? They had no alcohol on the flight.
Oof.
Well, I didn't ask. Well, they did give me one glass of wine.
So what's the truth here?
I think I'm a liar.
it was an emotional time, and it was also a very weird time.
Yeah, it was I woke up basically in the middle of the night, via the plane. It was an 11-hour flight, and I was oh, I can turn on my phone, my Wi-Fi. We got a little bit of free Wi-Fi, so I was oh, let me use it and check in. And I was oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and I showed it to Billy Bob, and he was and we were just
Yeah.
okay, well, I guess let's try to have a vacation. So I don't know. I went I definitely had a very good trip, but it was you know what? I'm just gonna really dive in when I get back. I'm just gonna have a good time. And it was I very much spent a lot of time on my phone, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give too much FOMO if everyone is going through stuff. I wanted
That's
to.
true. We had very opposite experiences because Crybaby and I were at home and feeling good, then feeling anxious, and then shit started to turn, so we said, well, let's just go to the bar. So we were hanging out at the Stud for Bernie's karaoke night.
Yeah.
Lots of
Shout out to Bernie.
Shout out to Bernie.
I love
If
her.
you're watching, we love you.
We love you, Bernie.
So we're hanging out. It's a lot of community people and friends, and more people are turning up. And then I'm starting to text people, be hey, you want to come out?
Yeah.
And so eventually it was a lot of our buddies all together, and it was looking really grim. But at some point I was able to stop looking at my phone. First of all, because I knew I wouldn't be able to get a hold of you.
Right.
And I wouldn't be able to get a hold of our other friend.
Hmm.
So what's the point of being on my phone if I can talk to you guys?
I can't talk to my
two friends. And also, I was like, I was with Crybaby and MJ, and I was literally holding both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I was getting really overwhelmed. And like,
wait, I have a question. Did you sing a song?
I did sing a song.
What did you sing?
I sang Yesterday by the Beatles. Because I was in my feelings.
Did you cry?
I came home and Crybaby and I stayed up until it was called.
Yeah.
So like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. here.
Yeah.
And I cried a ton. I like had a full on meltdown and I had a very sad day the next day. And, it was like very in slow motion. And then once I was ready to go was around the time you said, I'm ready to go. And now we're going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have cried. I don't remember. I mean, I definitely cried on the trip. I don't know if it was like because of the election.
You had a lot of stuff going on emotionally.
I have a lot of
This is just like a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know, like I found out it was more just like, okay, well, we were also together the night of 2016.
Yeah, we were on the election night.
We were both performing that night, right?
Yeah, we were performing together that night.
One of our first burlesque shows. Like we had debuted
within the first year because it would have been November.
Right. So we debuted in April and then this was in November. And so that was like crazy. And I remember like people were like vomiting in the street. Like it was like, maybe not vomiting. They were crying, which is fine.
But pissing, shitting.
They were pissing and shitting. We were at a donut shop. Ariana Grande walks in, licks a donut, and then...
Okay, so...
I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. My whole timeline is Wicked and it's actually driving me insane. So that's not... That's neither here nor there.
I literally did my best not to make a joke about holding space with the lyrics of Defying Gravity. You can't negate my effort.
I'm not
because it's gonna be so late once this comes out.
Don't cancel me, but I have been more traumatized by the premiere of Wicked than the results of the election.
Okay, you can keep that in. That's really funny. That's really funny. Wait, hold my finger. Wow.
You know what's even more embarrassing? I sang Defying Gravity at my high school graduation.
I think that's perfectly appropriate.
Listen, that's for another podcast. So, we were together. It was like, I was saying, it was like very a lot. And I was just like, I remember I was sobbing in the Uber ride home. And I was like, what the fuck? Like looking at all the red, like all the seats that were won. Like it was like a very, very red election. And I don't know, like this time I'm also like 8 years older.
Yeah, because it's been 8 years. We're on a very specific cycle. Because what, you wanted to talk about that night, and I will say, that night and going through the process of, like, entering, that new administration really did mobilize us and really did mobilize us in our art. And so I think we're getting to face that again. Mm-hmm. Older, wiser, stronger, faster, hotter, funnier, louder. And we have a whole new platform.
Yeah.
Because, we were doing it through live shows and trying to fundraise through live shows and just entering this world, and now we have a whole new position in the world.
I know.
8 years later, and it's round fucking 2.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go bare knuckles.
I'm gonna go bare knuckles deep into that hole.
But the point is, I think we felt a lot of fear the first time around, and I think this time, at least what I've seen in you and what we've talked about, is there's less fear and more motivation. This time we have a clearer idea of what we can do.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like now, like I don't think I definitely didn't get as emotional, but I was just like, I woke up that day and like, I was like almost like immediately like indignant. Like I kind of like skipped a few of the stages of grief because I feel like I've just been like, I just felt those a lot already. And then also just like social media, and not like my immediate friends, not like you or anything, but everyone's just like, well, when do we stop going to the work? Like I guess, or going to work, like I guess the world's ending, I guess whatever. And I'm like, no. We did this. We can do it again.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like too idealistic, but I'm like, it's not going to be okay for everyone always, but I'm like, it's going to be okay. We're going to survive. I don't know. Like, I just felt very
or at
like,
least we have to fucking try.
Wait, exactly. Like we have to try. And like, I can't sit there and be like, wah. And that doesn't make me want to try. Like what makes me want to try is like having like that like hope.
Yeah. I think you came with such a fire under your ass that it helped me pull out of the harder feelings of the moment where you're like, well, then we're just going to get really serious and we're going to use first of all, the privileges that we have, but also use the platforms that we have to focus, at least focus on what we can. Because we don't know everything. We're not in a political field, but we live politicalized lives.
Yeah.
And we have an audience for as many of you that there watching.
And also, we like know people.
We do, and that's true. We are able to engage civically on a higher level than just like our individuals. We are lucky to have some bigger connections, and those are important to leverage. We are bigger connections than other people, so it's important for us to leverage what we have.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot we can do, and I think the main things that we want to do is use this platform to push what we've already been pushing. You've been able to invest a bunch in different parts of our community, which is really meaningful because, like, we may not have the most immediate harm of whatever legislation and cultural bullshit's going to be lobbed our way, but we know enough people in our lives that will be, that it does feel kind of like an emergency.
I think about too people outside of California, you know, like we don't even get, you guys know, if you've been following the news, you know, like just the immediate ramifications of like Roe v. Wade being overturned. It's like that has been like so immediately bad for like people that maybe are on our side politically, but like you can't just, not everyone can fucking live in California. Like
affects everyone.
It does. And so it's like I don't know, it's like this fine balance of like being so motivated, wanting to speak out, but also maybe a little bit trying to like reach across the aisle as best as we can while protecting our like energy. But like there's something that's particularly annoying to me, like less progressive, like left-leaning people or Democrats or like however you want to say, than like if they're just like conservative weirdos. And I'm like, I really want to like speak to more of those like people who are progressive and like want to be progressive, but like they just don't know, or maybe they're like older and a lot of this stuff seems like new and weird.
Well, that's the thing, because you've always said you want this to be like a 101. You're able to like have these sex worker friends who talk to you about issues and introduce you to new ideas, and so we have to lean into that and put it in the context of what's like actually going on in the world for sex workers. Like, what are the immediate threats? What legislation is going to affect this? But we can make it approachable. So I think that's a big piece of the goal of season 3 is like, how do we stay present and help people learn? We're learning. We're always learning.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like we're always learning, and I'm always like getting like new information that it's like, oh, okay, like let's like think about that, you know? And there's like some things that like I know I'm not gonna like budge on. I know this is like our immediate community, but just like how as a group sex workers are so politically motivated. There's something about the work, and there's something about, in this job specifically, I've talked to the biggest diverse group of people, like especially working at strip clubs and stuff, and like even now kind of like with my one-on-one clients, but like more diverse of a group of people than I've like ever thought I would like talk to. I want to be like approachable and like talk about things, but I also want to be like very firm on my like beliefs, and that is like something that like I think activists work on in general. I want to be specific, I want to be strong, but I also want to continue to be, I think we're pretty accessible, and like maybe we could be more accessible, but like just to like the average person who's like finding us. But like I don't know, I just think we're like very smart, and we have a good perspective on things. A lot of the people that I know who are have the most interesting perspectives like are workers, because like I could see how someone could be like, oh, what's a couple of sex workers have to do, but it's like I don't know, it has everything to do with it in my head. I don't think decriminalizing sex work is going to like solve everything, like no. But I do think there's a way that like gender dynamics that are shown so much in sex work that we interact with on such an intimate level is something itself that leads to all of these problems that like we can engage with in like a different way.
Yeah, I think like sex work grapples with misogyny at every moment.
Yeah.
And that's a huge piece of white supremacy. White supremacy is kind of the root of a lot of our immediate potential harms right now. And so what we can do is focus on our niche, dig down, get louder, and a lot of that's going to be through this podcast. I mean, some of it is through the other forms of art we do, or engaging in fundraising, donating. We've been able to do some of that. You've made some really wonderful large contributions to help our immediate community. You've encouraged clients to do the same, which is really fucking slay.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I was able to run a fundraiser recently, which was really cool.
Oh my god, yeah.
And so I think like not everyone can do everything when we talk about like do the work and organize.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of figuring out what's our piece of the puzzle. And I do think a lot of it is like talk about sex work in the context of everything that's happening today, and talk about it in a way that we can all engage in the conversation.
Yeah, because it's like it can be overwhelming to be like there are so many things, there's so many things are wrong. Everything is wrong. All of these things. But just to be like, okay, what are like a couple of things I could like really focus on and do? Because if you try to spread yourself too thin, it's like you're just not going to get anything done. So I guess like that was like my immediate, like after the results, I was like, okay, I dialed the fuck in, and like I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to like be loud. I'm ready to like have uncomfortable conversations, like accept them being given to me, but also like ask people and like give and receive uncomfortable conversations.
Entering a space of learning is immediately stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when you enter that space without doing it on purpose, it's easy to have an anxious reaction, an anger reaction, like a confused reaction. It can make you want to like retreat from it. And so one thing we can do with this podcast is help people enter that space and have a good time and still learn.
Yeah.
And we can still like make a point of recording sex worker history through these interviews. We can continue to have a critical lens on media. We can talk about news in a way that you can get it, at least from our perspective, and hear us the fuck out. You don't have to always agree.
Yeah.
But we know what's happening to us. We know what's happening to the communities we're so lucky to be in, you know, queer nightlife and arts and performance and be in the sex worker community. Like, these are blessings, and these are the people that make our lives worth living.
I mean, honestly, I get really sad like on TikTok scrolling and like going through the comments and people just like genuinely being like, I wish I had friends, like I wish I had a community, like I wish I had this. And it's like, not to say those people are always like hate the world and act accordingly, but it's like I think it's easier to get like that when you do feel those ways. And I do feel like we are so blessed to have something so special, and like it's giving us this like power to get and talk to people and like give them hope.
Yeah, I also think we were those people who felt like they had no friends.
Oh,
and they felt like it wasn't worth being here.
Yeah.
But now more than ever, I want to be here, and I want to be with I want to be with you, right?
I want to be with you.
Oh my god, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, we are so lucky to have the lives that we on purpose built.
Yeah.
And so we're not gonna fucking give up, and I don't
No.
want you guys to give up.
No.
I hate this.
We're all crying. Like, I even have a tear.
Anyway,
Anyways,
the
the
point of this is we're excited for
Yes.
season 3. We're squaring up, and
Yeah.
you're coming along for the
You're
ride.
coming along.
Yeah, and if you're feeling scared, that's valid. And if you're feeling angry, that's valid.
I just think we have such an important like job to like not have people lose hope, I guess. Because
Yeah.
like I felt so inspired, not by the results, but because of
Yeah.
what I see happening. And I'm like, we can't let these people, like young people, queer people, people of color, like all these, but we can't have them lose hope. And I'm just like, I just feel so dialed into that.
I love it. We're gonna do what we can. Hopefully we can encourage you to figure out your piece of the puzzle, and we'll all just fucking keep on working, because at the end of the day, it is really worth it to be here.
I think so. I think it really is.
I mean, the fact that you guys watch is a big piece of that too. It's like, thank you.
And like we don't have like the biggest following in the world, but we have over the past year especially gotten messages from people that are like, even just like playing you, like it feels like I'm like with around friends, or I'm having like, you know, girly time or like whatever, and it's like that is so beautiful to me. So it's like we can hold all these like spaces.
If one person stops hating sex workers because of us, it's a win. If one person feels less alone because you're having fun hanging out with us, that's a win. If you feel like you've learned something, that's a win.
Yeah.
I think a big driving force that we get to carry, and hopefully you can carry in with you, is when you can, you do. So
Oof, that hits so good.
thank you,
Concise.
our wonderful friend Jess, for dropping the mic on that one. When you can, you do. So CRS is gonna fucking do it.
You thought we were gonna just hide? You thought I was gonna stay in Thailand, bitch?
You thought we were gonna shut up? You thought we were annoying before. I love how we were making fun of the Wicked press tour, and it genuinely made us both cry.
I know, but like you guys, it's just Wicked. It's not that serious.
We want to do right by you guys
We want to do right, yeah.
for watching, even if like you only watch this and you never watch again. Thank you.
Even if you watch us, just in case you might see our feet.
I'm gonna say, like, we've never shown our feet. We've always been stocking footed.
We've always been
wear
very
socks.
modest.
And I'm gonna put it back on the table. If someone donates
100,000.
no, don't. If you send our PayPal,
If you put me into your will,
For season 3, the foot reveal, I'm putting it at $2,000. So we each get $1,000.
Maybe that's money just for us.
Oh, no, that's like fully a tip. It's not for the podcast.
Yeah, it's just for us. We get $1,000 each to do something really dumb.
Well, I know where we're going to spend it.
Are we gonna get that that sushi boat? Is that not the restaurant sushi boat?
No.
It's good. It's like a private
This
omakase.
is not interesting for them.
It might be. If you know anyone. Usually I don't like men with boats because it's a little scary, but if it's an omakase chef.
We'll outnumber them and we'll be gay, so we'll be the gays. They're trying to kill them.
I do think being gay is a superpower.
Back to the point. If you send us $2,000, we'll each show 1 foot. So
okay.
That's the new ante for season 3. And I'll bring it up. If you're not caught up, go watch all of season 2 of Champagne Room Secrets.
And like subscribe and like can you please leave a comment? Please.
Can you comment something?
Can you please comment something down below? And on Spotify, you can leave comments now on episodes, which is cool. Please.
Engage with the things. Click the buttons. Send it to your friend. Send it to your enemy. Send it to your enemies. Oh my God, send us to your enemies.
Okay. Thank you so much. Continue following us. Be excited for us and give us money and love us because why wouldn't you?
You want to hit a little That's it.
We're done.
Charlie, I know you don't do poppers, but in case you do.
Sheldon doesn't do poppers because of why we don't do poppers.
Yes. Don't mix.
Sometimes when you have two good things, you can't mix them together.